A wealthy man went to Master John for a reading. He asked, "When will she be able to have children?" I told him directly, "You don't have long to live. Are you still thinking about having kids? But you married someone who was born a man. However, you do have a 2-year-old daughter you've never met." The wealthy man was stunned. He stammered, "Master, what exactly do you mean by that?" I replied, "You just came from the spa, didn't you? Going home to fight with your wife? Your friend told you they saw a strange man at your house once. Your wife told your friend he was her cousin, but you never knew she had a cousin, right?" "That's right," Larry responded decisively. I continued, "More importantly, if it was her cousin visiting, how could she not notify you? If you go home and argue with your wife about this today, you will die, because your suspicion is correct. That man is your wife's lover. When you argue today, he'll jump out and attack you. You'll accidentally kill him, and the two of them will stage the scene to look like a home invasion and murder." Larry was completely stunned. His face gradually paled, and his hands were trembling. After all these years, she's the only woman I've ever felt this way about. She seemed so virtuous. How could this happen? After Larry had composed himself slightly, I continued with his story. "Did your dog die half a month ago?" "Yes," Larry answered instinctively, then suddenly realized something and widened his eyes, asking, "Did it die of illness?" I nodded and replied, "Your wife poisoned it. She wanted to slowly poison the dog with a chronic poison, but she used too much at once, which killed the dog instantly. She was testing the poison on the dog, hoping to make it look like it died of illness. If it had worked, she would have used the poison on you, causing your health to fail gradually until you died. The dog's death made her realize the risk was too high, so she abandoned that plan. Recently, she and her lover have been devising the safest way to kill you." Larry leaned back, took a few deep breaths, and his expression suddenly turned fierce. He asked, "Master, who is that man? Do I know him?" I answered, "He was an intern at your company. One time when you were busy, your wife called you and said the toilet was clogged, so you sent him over to help. After that, they fell for each other and got together." Larry sat up straight abruptly. "That was 5 years ago." I nodded gently. "They've been together for 5 years. For these 5 years, your wife has been living in your home, wearing your clothes, using your things." Larry's voice cracked. "You mean?" Let alone Larry, the netizens are shocked, shouting "Holy crap!" / "Wow." I continued, "When you were home, he hid in the attic. When you weren't home, he was the man of the house. The two of them lived like a married couple." Larry couldn't take it anymore. He roared in anger, then quickly suppressed his rage and apologized to me. "I'm sorry, Master, I wasn't yelling at you." "It's fine." I didn't mind at all. Then, Larry pulled out another phone and made a call. "Get some guys over to my place." "Got it. Hold your position." After hanging up, Larry asked, "Master, to see all the details of their relationship, you'd need to see their faces. Just looking at mine isn't clear enough." Larry asked tentatively, "Could you come with me, then?" "Okay." I agreed decisively. Getting my reply, Larry slammed the accelerator and sped off. About 20 minutes later, Larry drove into an upscale neighborhood. He didn't park in his garage, but in a public parking spot on the outskirts. As soon as he got out of the car, a few burly men approached. One of them asked, "Boss, the guys are all here. What's the situation?" Larry told Mitch, "Have the guys keep a close watch for me. If anyone runs out of my house, grab them immediately." "Understood." Then, Larry led the burly men towards his front door. Soon, the group arrived at the front door. Maya happened to come to meet them and said in Japanese, "Honey/dear, you're back. You must be tired." Larry entered with a dark expression, ignoring his wife, and spoke directly to Mitch, "Go upstairs and see if anyone's there." "Okay." Mitch immediately went upstairs with a few of the guys. Larry's wife was a bit flustered and switched to English, "Honey/dear, what's wrong?" Larry glared at his wife and asked, "What's wrong?" Larry's wife frowned slightly. "Nothing's wrong." She looked as innocent as could be. Larry picked up a nearby baseball bat, then sat on the sofa, tapping the floor lightly with the bat while asking grimly, "Nothing's wrong? Why are you trying to kill me? And cheating on me?" He placed the phone screen on the sofa. Although the live stream screen wasn't shaking, the netizens and I could only see the ceiling, making everyone agitated. Larry's wife, who had hurried after him, said pitifully, "Honey/dear, how could I possibly kill you? We're one. Is there a misunderstanding?" Larry asked, "How did the dog die?" "It died of illness." "Why did you have it cremated at the pet store before I got back?" "I didn't think much of it at the time." Larry's wife answered very seriously, not letting Larry see any issues throughout. Larry snorted. Larry's wife suddenly cried and sat down on the edge of the sofa pitifully. "I see now. I came from overseas to marry you, and you're accusing me like this." Larry frowned deeply. His wife's behavior didn't seem like she was cheating, but Larry didn't believe it. After all, his wife was an actress. Before long, Mitch returned with the men. Nobody upstairs. Other rooms? Not there either. We checked every corner of the ground floor. Soon, the ground floor was also searched thoroughly, and still no one was found. His wife's crying grew louder. Larry quickly picked up his phone, turned up the volume, and said in an irritated tone, "Master, something's not right here." The netizens in the LV stream also started questioning me. I said unhurriedly, "Let me see your wife's face. To see the whereabouts of the lover, I need to look at your wife's face to get a more accurate and complete picture." Larry reluctantly aimed the phone camera at his wife's face. Her tear-streaked face instantly appeared in the netizens' view, gaining some sympathy. Immediately after, many people recognized her. "This looks like Maya." Yes, it's her. She retired from acting years ago, and many of the movies she was in have been taken down." I paid no attention to the netizens' comments. After examining Maya for a while, I said, "Larry, your wife noticed when you brought the men here, and the man ran off." "He didn't get far. Mitch said there's a basement crawlspace by the wall outside. Go lift the access cover and check." Mitch didn't reply, but looked at Larry. After getting a nod from Larry, he quickly took the men outside. Before long, a scream echoed from outside, clearly heard by all the netizens. Immediately, Mitch ran back inside quickly. There was someone. A naked man. Larry slammed his phone down and stood up. "Bring him here. We can only carry him." His leg broke just from the guys looking at him. A few of the guys carried in a scrawny man like they were carrying a pig and roughly dropped him in front of Larry. Larry's eyes immediately turned red with rage. He picked up the bat, about to smash it into Maya's head, but ultimately hesitated and didn't swing. Maya stopped crying this time. Her expression became panicked, and she said helplessly, "I don't know him." "Who put him in our well?" Still not admitting it. Larry swung the baseball bat. "You've been cheating on me for 5 years." "Maya!" She looked utterly confused. There was nothing she could do. Different culture. Larry pointed at Maya's nose, saying furiously, "You hooked up with him just by fixing a toilet. And you let this thing live in my home, wear my clothes, use my things. If I'd own you were so cheap, I wouldn't have spent 8 million. Stop faking it, I know everything." Hearing this, Maya knew the truth was out. But she didn't understand how she'd been exposed when she'd hidden it so well. Next, Larry got to the point. "You've been plotting to kill me recently, haven't you? Let's talk." But no matter how Larry questioned them, neither of them admitted to planning the murder. After all, cheating was a moral issue, but murder was a criminal offense. The reason Larry had kept the live stream on the whole way back was not only to get to the bottom of things, but also because he was worried he wouldn't find evidence of them plotting to kill him. Now that it had come to this, he was determined to send that wretched pair to prison. Since the two wouldn't talk, Larry aimed his phone camera at them. "Master, I need your help." I stated plainly, "That's extra." "Master, name your price." Another bits donation. Saying this, I enabled the sending gifts/donations feature again. The netizens couldn't help but complain, saying I was profiteering from misfortune and the platform is turning a blind eye. I said calmly. Larry used a bits donation, then closed the donation feature again. Immediately after, I said, you also have to promise me something. What is it? Master, I'll do anything. After your situation is clear, perhaps don't go to Seattle suburbs. It's a bit dirty there. Larry had never heard of the place. How could he possibly go there? So he immediately agreed. Okay, I won't go. I don't know what kind of place that is. As soon as I said this, netizens immediately felt something was off. The master knows something. My curiosity is burning. Why can't he go there? Something's going on there. Forget that for now, let's watch Larry's situation. After examining Maya closely for a few more moments, I said, the first attempted murder by poisoning, I already told you about it, so I won't say more. Because it wasn't successful, she didn't delete the purchase records on her phone. You can see for yourself. Honey/dear, she's lying. Maya refuted tearfully. I continued, the second time, which is today, they were discussing finding a desperado to kill you during breakfast. They planned to stage a car accident. Before you arrived, they had already paid the killer $100,000 deposit. The killer came to the door disguised as a delivery person to collect the money. Nearby cameras would have captured it, and you can find the killer. Larry's face was terrifyingly dark. I was still speaking. That man found a hometown acquaintance of his, named Caleb. Can the master find that person? Larry shifted his gaze to the man on the ground, who was trembling and suppressing groans of pain. I replied, you can just call the police. By the way, there's a hidden document on your wife's laptop. You can search carefully. It lists many plans and ideas for killing you, as well as murder case references. They put in a lot of effort to make your death look like an accident. As for other specific details, you can just call the police. With the evidence, they won't be able to escape. Hearing this, Larry immediately signaled Mitch with his eyes. Mitch understood implicitly and quickly went to search for the laptop. Then Larry, unable to suppress his rage any longer, lifted a foot and kicked Maya in the abdomen. She was knocked down beside her lover. Haven't I been good enough to you? What's so great about this pretty boy? I interrupted mercilessly, you're this old, and they were just after your money. Now they've found true love, but they can't bear to part with your money, so they want to take your life. Larry, you don't have the fate to marry a good wife. You should just stay single from now on. This hit Larry hard. He asked, will I be alone forever? Can I still have children? Fortunately, my next sentence reassured him considerably. You have a child. You won't be alone forever. Ally? When did this happen? This roller coaster of emotion made Larry feel like every cell in his body was screaming. The girl is already in her 20s. It's a girl. You have too many romantic entanglements. More than 20 years ago, a woman got pregnant with your child, but couldn't find you. So, before her pregnancy showed, she quickly married someone else. That man was a good person and raised the child very well for you. Larry quickly asked, where is she? My words changed his emotion back to sadness because I said, that man was very good to the girl, but in the summer of her junior year of college, she was kidnapped by human traffickers. She's been trapped for a long time, married off as an aging bachelor's wife in a remote village. She's living a very difficult life, and her mental state is already deteriorating. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Larry panicked and started pacing around the living room in distress. Location, Seattle suburbs. I've privately messaged you the specific address, as well as her adoptive parents' address, to your friend. Master. Just then, Mitch rushed over with a laptop. This is the only notebook upstairs. Take it and call the police. Larry didn't have time or the inclination to look at the notebook now. No need, wait for my private message. Mitch took out his phone to call the police, but Larry suddenly interrupted him. Get these two things outside before you call the police. I don't have time to deal with them right now. Okay, Mitch replied, then signaled to the guys beside him. They immediately grabbed the man and woman and started dragging them outside. Maya struggled fiercely while pleading with Larry, honey/dear, I was wrong. I can give you children. I can. Please don't call the police. Immediately after, I spoke. Don't waste your energy. She can't have children. You were truly blind. You didn't even check properly before getting married. She was born a man. Larry was utterly shocked. Oh way. The netizens, who were going crazy with laughter, didn't forget to screenshot Larry's current expression. It could be used as a meme, the old scumbag who spent millions coming from overseas to marry you, only for her to be a man. Who wouldn't find that hilarious? I couldn't help but want to laugh, too. After suppressing it, I just curved my lips slightly. How could you not tell? She said that Arya was injured, so... Stop! I understood implicitly. I didn't want to receive a system warning, so I quickly stopped Larry from saying anything further. Although he understood implicitly, the netizens who also understood implicitly didn't want Larry to stop, flooding the screen with comments, let him talk. At this point, I suddenly became a bit more serious. Don't forget your promise to me. Don't go to Seattle suburbs. Just let your men handle it. Why? Is it dangerous? Will I die? No. Thank you, Master. Before he could finish speaking, Larry's connection dropped, his phone battery died. After charging his phone, Larry had no intention of reconnecting with me. He copied his daughter's address and frantically instructed Mitch, buy tickets quickly and take the men to Seattle suburbs ahead of me. I need to deal with that wretched pair first, they won't die anyway. I have to bring my daughter back myself. Not even God himself can stop me. Returning to the live stream, I was surrounded by a flood of questions from netizens. Master, what will happen if he goes to Seattle suburbs? What exactly is the situation with Larry's daughter now? I answered each question unhurriedly. First, I spoke about what would happen if Larry went to Seattle suburbs. If Larry goes to Seattle suburbs, I'm afraid he'll suffer serious injury. He'll be beaten severely, but he won't die. As for Larry's daughter, her situation is terrible. She's chained every day in a dilapidated room, living with pigs. If she's not rescued soon, her mental state will be permanently damaged. She'll be tormented by that old man for the rest of her life. Saying this, I sighed softly. The netizens' anger surged, and they all got worked up. I continued, as for the exact nature of Larry's serious injury, I'm not sure, so please don't speculate. He was originally going to die today, but because of my intervention, many possibilities have emerged for his future, and it's still uncertain. As for where his daughter is, I won't say. If the word gets out, can Larry still not find her? After chatting with the audience for a while longer, I ended the live stream. I only do 3 readings a day, and Larry was the last one. The next day, I started my live stream as usual. I glanced at the number of online viewers. It hit 10,000 in the blink of an eye and kept rising. Good morning, everyone. As soon as I finished speaking, a bits donation lit up, illuminating the entire live stream, not just one, but flashing constantly. During the interval between sending gifts/donations, Larry showed up. The netizens who had been there yesterday recognized him and greeted him warmly, asking if he had found his daughter. The whole live stream was quite lively. Larry didn't have time to reply to them. He said to me, "Thank you, Master John. I found my daughter. Thank you. I did a paternity test, and she is my daughter. Heaven has eyes." You could tell from his words how excited Larry was. "Master, can we meet? I want to thank you properly. It's good you found her. No need to meet. Just live well." I replied politely, then asked, "By the way, how are you? When you went into the village to get her?" "The whole village, we took a few hits, got pretty roughed up, but they were minor injuries, nothing serious. I'll spend more time with my daughter now." I was genuinely happy for Larry. This man was redeemable. After exchanging pleasantries and thanks, Larry left the live stream. Then I said, "Today, I'll still only do 3 readings. Starting now, I'll take the Rst3 netizens who send a bits donation. In an instant, bits donation after bits donation began to flash. I didn't let the fireworks continue. I raised my hand and turned off the gift feature. After turning off the gift feature, I immediately asked, "Where is the friend named Amnesiac? You are the first person today. Please connect." Connecting was a girl with delicate features, short hair, and a beaming smile. She looked about 24 or 25. She greeted me properly. "Hello, Master. I've watched many clips of your live streams. You're truly amazing, but it's still hard for me to believe. Please forgive me, I'm an atheist." "I understand. Do you still want a reading?" "A reading about what?" "A reading about my life experiences from childhood to now, just to share it as a story." This was a bit surprising to me and the netizens present. Shouldn't a girl this age be asking about her studies or relationships? Only this? I questioned. "Yes." The girl nodded, smiling. "Then find a comfortable position to sit in. I'm ready." At the same time, I sighed inwardly. It seems I won't gain any merit from this woman. Her spirit is broken. "Fiona, you were born in the city. Your family's circumstances weren't wealthy, but much better than in the countryside. But you preferred living at your grandma's house in the rural area because you have a pathological mother. She always used for your good as an excuse to control you indirectly. You wanted to escape her, but she was like a ghost you couldn't shake off." Just 2 sentences instantly froze Fiona's smile. The corners of her mouth slowly dropped. "The master is truly accurate," I said slowly. "As far back as you can remember, your parents were already divorced. Your mother raised you alone. She felt her life was a failure, so she placed all her hopes on you. She demanded that you be first in class and hoped that you would get into the Ivy League. Every time your grades fluctuated or something pleased her, she would scold you, hit you, and then complain to you about how much she'd suffered for you and how ungrateful you were. In elementary school, she occasionally allowed you to see your father and go to your grandma's house, but she stopped allowing it in middle school. She even investigated all the classmates you interacted with, causing you to be isolated at school, and she even scratched a male classmate you were close to, almost disfiguring him." Hearing this, Fiona completely lost her smile and frowned, as if recalling past pain. At this moment, netizens noticed that Fiona's expression changed after she stopped smiling. She wore a bitter smile, and the sparkle in her eyes disappeared. If this is acting, then Fiona is definitely from an acting academy. To make you focus entirely on your studies, your phone was constantly monitored by her. All your time outside of school was taken away from you. She even set strict times for showering and would even shower with you. You thought that if you got into the Ivy League, everything would be fine, and you could leave your mom. So you studied frantically, but in the end, you didn't get into the Ivy League, you didn't even finish high school. It wasn't because you weren't capable, but because you were under constant high pressure, and you developed problems. In your senior year, you suffered from severe depression and anxiety and attempted suicide multiple times. But your mom didn't take you to a doctor. Instead, she found various mystics who see things for you and used many folk remedies. One time, your mom took you to your rural grandmother's house and had 2 mystics who see things strip you down, put you in a sealed bucket, and then they built a fire underneath, saying they wanted to ritually steam out the dirty things. You were pounding, wailing, and crying out to your mother from inside, but she was unmoved and kept adding firewood to the fire. If the neighbors hadn't been drawn by your screams and called the police in time, you would have been boiled alive. Fiona couldn't help but interject, "I'll never forget that day." After crawling out of the bucket, she didn't comfort me. Instead, she demanded why I screamed and why I couldn't just endure it. She made me kneel all night. That night, she kept complaining nonstop next to me about how much she'd suffered for me over the years. By the end, she started listing my occasional rebellions in life and said if I didn't support her in the future, she would probably just find a mountain and die by herself. Saying this, Fiona, who was trying hard to suppress her emotions, still couldn't help but get red-eyed and raise her voice, as if all the suffering in her life was caused by me, as if she could have been perfectly fine without me. "Fiona." Seeing that Fiona was losing control, I waved my hand at her. Fiona paused, took a few deep breaths to compose herself, and lowered her head. I'm sorry, I lost my composure. It's okay. After that, seeing that you had no hope of academic success, she gradually relaxed her control over you. If only she had stayed relaxed. Fiona shook her head with a bitter smile. Shall we continue? At this point, the number of viewers in the live stream was approaching 100,000. At this point, I said with some sympathy to Fiona, who had composed herself, indeed, if only she had stayed relaxed, then both of you would have lived. Many netizens were immediately drawn in by my words. Holy crap! Is there another case? But you're accurate. It wasn't a waste of time watching before. Fiona gave me a surprised thumbs up. The netizens, however, were confused. What's going on? I don't get it. The streamer said both she and her mom would die, so why isn't she worried? Yeah, if it were me, I'd be rushing to pay to change my fate. Amidst the discussions, I continued recounting Fiona's life story after failing her college entrance exams. After leaving school, why? Oh, you fled to a major city as if escaping, thinking you could escape your mother's control in other ways. At first, you worked low-level jobs, earning just over $3,000 a month, and more than half of it you sent to your mom. Because you didn't have enough money, you had to cram into a downtown LA tenement, sharing a rental with others. You never ate out and rarely bought clothes. Although you were physically tired and struggled, you were very happy because you were mentally relaxed. Later, you learned a lot about media and got a foothold in a media company. After years of hard work, you gradually rose to management. Now your salary is far higher than most people your age. Listening to this, Fiona gradually returned to her initial calm state, and her lips became still. That period could be said to be the best time of her life. But just as she regained her composure, her expression immediately darkened again because I had touched upon her sore spot. You are currently at a good point in your career, but for the past year, your mom has started being difficult again. You are still very young, but she's been frantically pushing you to get married. Every time a blind date doesn't work out, or you express the idea that you don't want to get married, she attacks you. She scolds you to your face, scolds you on the phone, and scolds you behind your back to relatives. Just because you've reached marriageable age and aren't married, even though you are very accomplished, she feels you are nothing because you haven't followed the path your mom planned for you. To make your mom stop quickly, you even considered marrying just any man, as long as he seemed okay. A month ago, you went to another city to meet someone you met online, but they turned out to be a human trafficker. Luckily, when the human trafficker was taking you onto the highway, the toll booth attendant heard your cries for help. Otherwise, there's no telling where you would have been taken. After such a terrible experience, you completely broke down. You started feeling that your existence in this world was a mistake, that living was painful, and the source of that pain was your mom. After all, you were the mistake she brought into the world. I suddenly deepened my tone. So, after being rescued, you rushed back to your hometown and ended the life of your dying mother. Fiona's expression changed slightly, then quickly returned to normal. She didn't seem particularly worried about this being revealed. The comment section exploded. Holy crap! My heart just sank. That's monstrous. If she did that, would she have the nerve to connect for a reading here? It must be true. After yesterday's live stream, who wouldn't believe the streamer? Besides the arguments, many expressed sympathy for Fiona and spoke up for her. But is there any hope for Fiona's situation? Could she get a long sentence or something? I immediately dispelled these notions. As far as I know, Fiona. You can just call me Fiona. Okay, Fiona, if you had stopped in time, perhaps you could have saved your life. But now there's nothing that can be done. You have too many lives on your hands. Fiona lifted her hands to wipe her face, then forced a smile. I know there's nothing that can be done, but I don't regret it. They all deserved to die. The spectators/onlookers were shocked and couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. Wow! More than one life. Who else did she kill? Whether they deserved to die should be left to the law. I didn't give a definitive conclusion and began talking about the second life Fiona had taken. At this point, more and more official accounts were entering the live stream, mostly alerted by netizens sharing the stream. As soon as they heard about a murder case, they all became alert. After ending the life of your mother, you knew you wouldn't live, and you had no intention of escaping. So you wanted to do everything you usually enjoyed before you died. The first place you went was the nearest movie theater auditorium. Inside the auditorium, you met a very noisy child, running around and shouting. You were very agitated. Later, as he ran around, he couldn't find his mom and wailed, "Mom, where are you?" You shouted back, "Your mom is dead." The child was terrified by you, and his mom cursed you for a long time, even demanding you kneel and apologize. You wanted to reason with her, but you found she had her own logic and couldn't be reasoned with, so you held back. That mother happened to be sitting close to you. After cursing you, to appease her child, she was explaining the movie plot to him while giggling, and even showed him videos on her phone. You couldn't stand it anymore. You walked straight out of the movie theater auditorium, went to a hardware store and bought an awl, and then waited outside the entrance. You felt that woman, like your mom, didn't deserve to be a mother, so you wanted to take her with you before you died, to prevent her from raising a disrespectful person who would harm society. You stabbed that woman to death on their way home, when no one was around, and spared the terrified child. Fiona asked me seriously, "Do you think a woman like that deserved to die?" I could only say, she wasn't a fit mother. At this point, the viewership was approaching 200,000. I knew very well what should be said in such a situation. At this point, I noticed many official police accounts applying to connect. Due to their special status, their connection requests were at the front. I scanned the screen again and occasionally saw questions from official accounts asking about the location of the crime and where Fiona was from, but they were quickly scrolled away. This time, I didn't choose to reveal Fiona's information via private message. Instead, I publicly announced Fiona's home address. Fiona listened quietly, then asked with some curiosity, "Aren't you afraid I'll run?" "You won't run. Your spirit is broken." I looked at Fiona with sympathy. If you hadn't happened to see my live stream and become interested in it, you would have already turned yourself in. You wanted to tell your story through me and provide a warning to others, right? That's right. Fiona sighed with a sense of relief. She had struggled with the idea of turning herself in all night. Now that someone could push things forward, she said, "Okay." At this point, the excited netizens began urging impatiently, "Didn't you say she had too many lives on her hands? Is there anything else? Streamer, keep going." I continued speaking. "After killing that woman, you put on your blood-stained jacket and got on a bus going nowhere in particular. You sat on the seat, trembling the whole time, feeling very tired. It felt similar to after killing your mother, didn't it?" Fiona nodded slightly. "Yes, it was quite similar." A few stops later, a boisterous soccer mom got on and stood nearby. You wanted to get up and give up your seat for the older woman, but your legs were too weak. Seeing you didn't get up, the older woman urged you to give her your seat, lecturing you to respect your elders and cherish the young. You couldn't be bothered to argue with her, so you lied and told the older woman you were recovering from a serious illness and had just come from the hospital. Seeing that you were indeed trembling, the older woman couldn't use morality to pressure you, so she grumbled and moved elsewhere. Later, a woman carrying a child got on the bus. Seeing she was struggling, you gave her your seat. The previous older woman saw this and immediately became enraged, launching a furious personal attack on you, saying, "You liar, you have no upbringing, you were raised like an orphan, and everyone on the bus was watching you." You were so angry you wanted to end her right there, but luckily, a kind man stepped in to break up the argument and gave his seat to the older woman, which finally quieted her down. Then you followed the older woman off the bus. At a deserted garbage collection point, you took out the awl and sent her off as well. After getting a third life on your hands, you weren't as scared. Instead, you felt you were delivering justice and cleaning up societal trash. Fiona interrupted, "Wasn't that the case? Don't you think an old woman like that deserved to die?" I could only say, she wasn't. I didn't want to dwell on this topic. After a brief reply, I continued, you changed your clothes at a street vendor stall and bought a hat. Then you chose a barbecue joint. When you were almost finished eating, you saw two drunk men harassing a woman who was also alone, like you. When the woman stood up to resist, she was hit by a bottle and dragged out by the two men. No one at the scene dared to intervene. The two drunk men were shouting, anyone who interferes will be killed, which scared people off. That woman was lucky to run into you, someone not afraid of dying. You felt an all wouldn't be enough to harm those two drunk men, so you slipped into the kitchen and got a meat cleaver. As those two men were pulling the woman towards their car with vulgar language, you attacked them wildly with the knife. One of them died on the spot. You pinned the other down while he was running and hacked at him wildly. He not only lost his life, but was unrecognizable. Then you went back inside, paid the bill, packed up food truck tacos, and rode a shared electric scooter home. You didn't dare go out again because you were afraid you would kill more people impulsively. After returning home, you stayed in your living room, guarding your mother's corpse, and watched TV all night. At dawn, you cleaned yourself up, ready to turn yourself in. But before you left, you saw my live stream, which led to this connection. Is everything I've said accurate? Yes. Fiona replied, then spoke seriously to the netizens, wow, there are over 100,000 people now. Hope everyone will spread my story so that everyone knows how to behave, or the consequence will be death. She emphasized the last sentence heavily, and her expression was grim. Knock, knock. Just then, there was a rapid knocking sound. Fiona panicked for a moment, but after glancing at the strangled corpse on the ground, she quickly calmed down. She took a deep breath, picked up her phone, and got up to open the door. She thought it was the police, and the confused netizens also thought the police had arrived. But after opening the door, Fiona saw her father, covered in sweat and looking anxious. She exclaimed in surprise, Dad! You fool! Run! The police are here! The man cursed, then quickly shoved a phone into Fiona's hand. Here's this phone for you. It's a burner phone, safe to make calls. There are a few of Dad's loyal friends saved in it. If you run into trouble outside, call those numbers. Fiona's eyes immediately turned red. Dad, I'm sorry. Your dad knew your mom was crazy a long time ago. There was nothing I could do. The man's eyes also turned red, filled with guilt. At this moment, a team of police officers split into two groups, appearing from the elevator and stairwell, blocking all possible escape routes and apprehending the father and daughter. The young police officer who entered the room first shouted, Captain, there's a corpse in the living room. Because Fiona was holding the phone, the netizens didn't see many of the visuals, but they could hear the sounds. The last thing everyone saw on screen was an officer solemnly ending the connection. After the connection dropped, the still excited netizens were actively sending comments. The streamer is amazing. It was like watching a movie. This live stream is exciting. Fiona is so dumb. Couldn't she just cut ties with her mom? This whole thing was thrilling and interesting, but it's a shame about Fiona. For those who felt sorry for her, I was now on the live stream talking about another possible outcome for her. Did everyone notice? Fiona looks very young for her age. Netizens expressed confusion. Why is the streamer suddenly talking about her age? It feels weird. I explained, because she was someone who was destined for a long life. If she hadn't been consumed by impulse and had lived a stable life, in a few years, she would have met a man who was very good to her and very capable. That person would have been able to handle Fiona's mom completely. I don't know if any of you have seen Yellowstone, but Fiona's husband's ability to handle people would be comparable to someone who can handle anyone in that show. Fiona's mom would be no match for him and would have had to settle down. So, everyone, don't be impulsive when something happens, and don't risk your life confronting trash people. The best solution is to get away from trash people, because it's not worth sacrificing your life for trash people. Because of my words, the people in the live stream who had gotten worked up and strongly supported Fiona's actions gradually began to cool down. After sighing with sympathy, I suddenly frowned and said in a deep voice, with a touch of solemnity, I hope everyone will spread Fiona's story to serve as a warning to some unfit parents and trash people. As I said before, this was Fiona's ultimate goal in connecting. I hope everyone can fulfill her dying wish. The netizens were almost all responding positively, as this was practically the dying wish of a pitiful girl. Next up, is escaped card daxing here? After finishing Fiona's story, I called out the next person. Soon, escaped card daxing applied for a connection. It was a young man with short hair, glasses, and prominent dark circles under his eyes. His face was very close to the camera, so the background wasn't clear. Master, I'm here. I've been watching your live stream. You're a miracle worker. I quickly interrupted him, humbly saying, I wouldn't dare call myself a miracle worker. I'm just a humble seer. What do you want to read about? Okay, I'll get straight to the point. I want a reading about my wealth luck. When can I get rich? What should I do to get rich? Ethan placed his phone on the stand in front of him with full anticipation. His surroundings suddenly became clear, an esports-style room. Regarding Ethan's question, many people felt it was exactly what they were looking for. Finally, someone is asking about getting rich. Nothing is more important than getting rich. After examining Ethan for a while, I clicked my tongue lightly and said, to be frank, you don't have the fate for great wealth. Ethan was unhappy with this reply and asked anxiously, why? Why not? I shrugged innocently and spread my hands helplessly. That's just fate. Some people are born with an unlucky fate and cannot handle great wealth. That's also why many wealthy people, after getting rich, either have short lives or quickly lose everything. As I said this, I retracted my hands and immediately sat up straight again. Look at me. I almost forgot I was live streaming. I almost didn't maintain the appearance of a master. If you want to know why, I'm afraid you can only ask the underworld spirit below. Ask him why he didn't give you a good fate. Ethan pursed his lips and sighed in disappointment again. Okay, thank you, master. I advised, it's already quite good that you are financially secure and have a stable career. Don't get discouraged by my words. Work hard, and your life will get even better. Frankly, your fate isn't very good. Your upbringing was poor. A slight misstep could have caused you to go astray and become a societal degenerate or an indiscriminate killer. But you didn't, which is commendable. Although I can't change your wealth luck, I can help you remove your recent bad luck. Do you want that? I said this, slightly curving my lips. Yes. Ethan didn't blink and immediately nodded. Let me tell you. First, you work in film and television post-production and have produced many works. In the past 2 years, you lost several big deals that should have been yours for various reasons, right? Ethan's eyes widened. Yes. Have you been feeling groggy lately, unable to wake up properly, and not performing well at work? Ethan widened his eyes further and nodded slightly. You've even accidentally sent messages meant for your client to the work group chat with them, right? Ethan was even more shocked. As he nodded rapidly, he said excitedly, yes. Master, you're too accurate. It's not a big problem. It's caused by the people below complaining about you. Ethan was a bit taken aback. The people below complaining about me? I said, you've never made offerings at your father's grave. He's dirt poor down there. How could he not complain about you? When the complaints of the dead affect the living, you'll have bad luck. But master, my father is alive and well. Not that father, I said lightly. The netizens immediately got excited. Folks, who gets it? Asking about wealth, luck, and the father is gone. A family breakdown has begun. While the netizens were joking, Ethan first frowned and thought for a moment, then sighed with relief and chuckled a couple of times. Master, now that you say that, I feel a lot better. I always wondered why he disliked me from childhood, always hitting or scolding me, never treating me like a person, and even making me steal and lie. If he's not my real father, then I understand. The appearance of these words made Fiona's earlier reconciled smile seem much more bitter. Now the netizens understood my previous words even better. With an adoptive father like that, it's truly remarkable that he hasn't gone astray by now. I comforted him, honor your biological father's memory during holidays from now on, and your bad luck will soon stop. Your future will be even better. Good days are ahead. Ethan nodded repeat. Delay in agreement, then asked curiously, who is my biological father? Where is he? What about my stepmother? I didn't start speaking immediately. Instead, I said hesitantly, I can tell you the details about your father via private message, but if I reveal what I know about your mother, she will likely be arrested. Do you still want to know? Ethan was a bit stunned. My mom broke the law? I nodded. Your mom is a murderer.